Alright, Jund Storm Herald. Storm Herald here, the centerpiece to our deck. When it enters the battlefield, return any number of aura cards from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to creatures you control. Exile those auras at the beginning of your next end step. Those auras leave the battlefield from anywhere, exile them instead. So what our deck is looking to do with cards like Stitcher Supplier, Binding of the Titans, Cathartic Reunion, and Tiamat Calls the Dead, we're looking to churn through our deck and put cards like Setessan Training, Ancestral Mask, and Prodigious Growth into the bin. And then we put Storm Herald into play either by casting it from our hand or by returning it with Call of the Death Dweller to then put a bunch of power onto one creature and attack the opponent. This deck is capable of attacking for lethal on turns 3 and 4 if you hit the right things off of these and then play Storm Herald on turn 3. Deck was very reasonable last time I played it. Excited to see what it does here again. You'll see in our sideboard, we have kind of a pivot game plan. We've got 4 discard spells, 4 Kroxa, 3 Questing Beast as tools to bring in when we expect our opponent to have lots of spot removal post-board for our Storm Herald. And then these will be able to drag us across the finish line. Hey, your mom's red sauce. Thanks for the sub gifties, I appreciate that. Yes, yeah, it's great. This could potentially be a turn 3 kill. If we roll well. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Demonic Embrace doesn't really solve any problems this deck is having, so that makes it a bad inclusion in my opinion. Sounds good, Shaper. It's an okay start. Found a Prodigious Growth. This needs to flip over a couple more goodies and we can get him. Swing and a miss. Barn Burner, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. Thanks for keeping me employed here this month with that. Probably some kind of, what's it called deck? The 4-mana enchantment that makes the sacrifice things. Unfortunately, don't have anything else going on here. Just drawing a bunch of lands. Doom Foretold, that's the one. Hey, congrats. It's good to be back. Is Grim Tutor standard playable? Probably not. They could be Esper, could be Abzan too. They played a Triumph. They could also just be playing this as like an off-color Triumph because Esper doesn't have a Triumph. Fenlurker, sure. Could also just be a port of the black-white deck from Standard, too. Bring out your dead. Mill 3 cards. Don't mind if it does. Standard playable? I don't know. I'm actually going to send out a sub-survey this evening inquiring about people's feelings on Standard, Runeterra, and Oglandia opens with custom ban lists. Alright, so they should be dead through a removal spell here. Because we have enough enchantments at this point to create 2 lethal creatures. Attach Prodigious Growth here, attach a Training here, attach a Training here, attach a Mask here, attach a Mask here, attach a Training here, attach a Training here. Do 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 do. Attack for 47. Will there be a way to indicate ratio between Magic and Runeterra? Yeah, I'm going to judge how much Runeterra people would like to see based on how many people, not only how many people tag it as content they're sub to support, but also how many people tag it as their favorite content. Will be how I try to measure that. Zaparis, thanks for the 23 months. Welcome back. The Nexus matchup, you board in Remorse, Kroxa, and Questing Beast, because usually they have bounce spells, and bounce spells are hard for you to beat. It takes about 200 packs to get playsets of every common, uncommon, and rare. You'll have most mythics at that point, but not all of them. I don't really know how I want to board here. And when I'm not really sure how I want to board with my linear deck, I usually just click OK. I am aware of what the problem with a custom ban list tournament is, Thoughtnots. That's why I would like to measure what the desire is of people to play them as. It's also, strictly speaking, not irrelevant. There are a number of people who I know, like, you know, at my advice even, just don't play matches of Magic that aren't fun. So, like, if you're someone who's just conceding, there's a whale emoji. We have a regular whale emoji, and we have a golden whale emoji. And then naturally, because they're whale emojis, you have to have given me money to have access to them. If you've cheered $100 in bits, you get the Hoogle whale. And if you've cheered $1,000 in bits, you get the golden whale. I'm going to go ahead and reunion here, ditching these two. The burrito emoji is $10 in bits for the burrito center, so you can make big burritos. I don't have our namesake card here, so we unfortunately can't kill them. Let's go ahead and play Calls the Dead to try and find a Storm Herald in our bin. Still no Storm Herald. I'm going to go ahead and exile Binding. This mills 3 more next turn, so it gives us 3 more shots to find Storm Herald for our Call the Death Dwellers. Bits are something you have to purchase from Twitch. And then you just type cheer and then the amount that you're cheering in chat after to cheer them. There should be a little bit icon near chat. This little icon here that when I click it says I can't cheer in my own channel. If you click this little icon here, it'll give you details on how bits work. And just for the record, like, I understand the potential downsides to a custom ban list tournament. I just also know that, like, from a content creative perspective, I also don't really have a strong desire to cast Wilderness Reclamation matches all day. Like, I don't think that will be particularly exciting. Let's see, it's pretty good. Needs another land, but we can go Stitcher into Chanting to cantrip. Your Stitcher Supplier's hands are some of your best with this deck for sure. Yeah, and like, unlike people like Wizards of the Coast Tires, like, I don't feel obligated to, like, sit there and try and pretend a game of Magic that's not actually exciting is exciting and interesting. I'd rather just be like, man, this sucks. Why are we sitting through this? Hey, CPU, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglendia. Just keeping me around. Land. Well, poop. Feels Magic Man. I'm gonna send out a sub-survey tonight, Captain Akaba. I don't have lethal, right? I only have 1, 2, 3 enchantments, and this gives 2/2 for each other enchantment. So these currently each give 4/4. So I'd have 8, 9. So let's shock this in and play Calls the Dead here. Hi, Warden N. Thanks for the quarter of year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Is it better to cheer or give subs? What's better for Oglendia? Whatever is more convenient for you. My number one motto is don't dictate to people who want to give me money how they prefer to give me money. The bits in chat give you extra things like bit badges and special emotes, so they personally give you more prizes. All right, and now we definitely have lethal. I missed a donation. I totally missed a donation. Zaparis, that's probably for Burn, I believe, right? Is what I approved from you. Whoop. Sounds good. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. Old 2725. Sorry, Joan asking about channel points reminded me that I needed to give feedback to my partner rep on that. Against an Agromir, I'm just going to click submit. We're just going to try and race them. So they recently adjusted how channel points work, and I don't have control over this. Ideally, they would give me control over this, but they just haven't. They don't have it in their infrastructure. So all subs used to get 2x channel points, and they changed it. So tier 1 and prime subs only get 1.2x, tier 2 subs get 1.4x, and tier 3 subs get 2x, which I think is bad. Your mom's red sauce. Thanks for the sub gifties. I appreciate it. In my opinion, they should have changed it. If they wanted to give tier 2 and tier 3 subs extra channel points, I think that's fine and even a good idea. But they should have just increased how much tier 2 and tier 3 gets, as opposed to decreasing what most people get. Is what they should have done. How'd the front page day go? It actually wasn't really a big deal. Apparently, however, they restructured their front page. Being on the front page doesn't actually meaningfully do much anymore. Like, when we had front page promotion last time, we got like 90+% of my views on the day from the front page, and we hit like 7,000 and 8,000 viewers. The other day when we had it, it was like 20 to 30% of my viewers were boosted from the front page, and it was like 800 viewers. So not really anything super meaningful. All right, definitely want Assassin's Trophy to kind of fight their graveyard hate a little bit. In fact, I think with Winota banned, maybe I should turn these red cap melees into Maelstrom Pulses in my sideboard as extra cards to fight graveyard hate and also be flexible. Yeah, it is what it is. It's something that's more novel than anything. Like, concurrent viewer count doesn't really translate to income directly. What are lands? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We found one. I don't wanna get rid of either of those, so let's decline this. Gem Razor. Let's just read. I think I just Binding of the Titans here. Great. There's a Storm Herald. Got 2 Prodigious Growth and an Ancestral Mask in the bin. And we can jump block with the Citrus Supplier to try and put some more in there. So we're looking to fade Scavenging Ooze this turn. Slash other Graveyard Hate. Huh? Do I play around the possibility of them having an instant speed fight card here? I don't really need to, right? Because if they fight it in response, the enchantments never get put on it, so they don't get exiled. And then I get to pick it back up again next turn, right? So they need to have, like, a fight spell plus another way to mutate. So if they have a way to destroy Binding here or kill us, we lose. Okay, they should be dead. They should be dead on board, right? Welcome to Thunderdome. Enjoy your stay. Climbing on up the ladder. Do 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 do. They waited for you to pick the enchantments first, so it would have blown you out, though, right? No, because they wouldn't have anything to come into play on, I don't believe. Once you pick the enchantments, they automatically go on the creatures. That doesn't work at all, actually. Once you pick the enchantments, they're attaching. There's not a window like after they pick the enchantments before they go on the creature, where you can respond and kill the thing. Urkadar, thanks for 35 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think I want to start working down the black track for Massacre Worm. That's been a sweet one. You can find my favorite stuff that we've played each day on my website here, Tyler. We play enough things that generally speaking, it's better to just reference that. When I'm looking for things to play, I usually go back and reference that myself. If they attack with Ebon Legion here, I'm just going to trade with my Death Toucher. Well, poop. A Quill, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Any good resources to see non-standard cards while it's added to Historic? Yeah, Scryfall has the ability to search for things like that. I'm going to bring in Trophy and Maelstrom Pulse to be able to kill their things that interact with our graveyard here. I think I want to go fully into... I don't think I want to go fully into the sideboard plan just because, like, Kroxa is another graveyard card that they'll get to hose. Yeah, the fact that digitally they update the templating of old cards to use new keywords like mill is fantastic for sure. For sure. Seems very good. Turn 1 Supplier, turn 2 Binding is kind of your best start in this archetype a lot of the time. We also have Cathartic Reunion to get this Ancestral Mask into the bin and churn through some stuff, which is good. I mean, their graveyard hate, their main deck graveyard hate at least is kind of slow, so it depends if they have things like Cages and Ley Lines post-board or not. They do have Ley Lines. Do I want to Maelstrom Pulse this? Or do I want to just Cathartic Reunion? I think I'm going to just Cathartic Reunion, because there's a chance we just kill them next turn. Binning the land might be greedy, but there's a good chance we draw another 1 in 3 cards. We're also getting a land back with this next turn. I think this deck's already sufficiently linear, and I'd rather play things like Binding of the Titans to make the deck more consistent. I think making the deck less consistent, more linear, is not a good direction to push the archetype into. Which is basically what your suggestion is. Do I want to Reunion again? I think so. Yeah, the next turn I can play this to mill 2 and then Storm Herald. Are they dead? Double Training Mask. Triple Training Mask is not... Triple Training Mask is not quite lethal, right? Yeah, we have plus 11 because of their Leyline of the Void. So that's not quite enough. So we'll go Maelstrom Pulse, Leyline of the Void, play Mire Triton. Discarding the Storm Herald and keeping the call is much, much worse in the event that they have a... In the event that they have a piece of graveyard hate. This has Death Touch and Trample. We're not going to sack anything. Don't know about you, but I'm dealing 22. think I'm happy with how I boarded. Definitely just want these against Leyline of the Void. Pretty easy mulligan here. Hand's not particularly functional. Doesn't have any anti-hate cards in it. This hand's not amazing, but I think it's in the range of keepable. Fish Lamp Clock, thanks for the 22 months. Welcome back. Step 1, didn't get ley lined. Found a third land. Things are looking good. Dealer's choice. Storm Herald and Cathartic Reunion both have borderless options. I just didn't feel like spending gems on them. Dealer's choice. You took my Ancestral Mask, really? A lot of the borderless cards in this application are things that I got because people cheered bits for them or donated dollars. I only spend my own dollars on things if it's something that I like playing a lot, personally. Okay, this could be a game where we find a removal spell for their chosen from death, and then we beat them down with 2/2 zombies. Alright. Just like we drew it up, Chip. I'm supposed to offer this trade. Holding this is nice in the event that they have a, what's it called, though? Phyrexian Obliterator. Oh, I'm dumb. I should have bottomed all of those, so I was going to play another one and mill myself here. Yeah, I should have bottomed the Pulse, digging for more enchantments and things for this. It's a mistake on my part. And we'll hold lands at this point so we can get this Cathartic Reunion cast. You've murdered my zombie. I think I'm going to decline to make a zombie here because I would like to leave all of these in here in the event that we find a Storm Herald. I've had 0 of those in 26 cards, so there's a good chance we find one of those soon. We're going to get to scry 3 next turn and then cast a Cathartic Reunion. Wow. Still, we bottomed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. So there's 4 Storm Heralds and 19 cards. Sometimes they have your number. And that's just like what you get playing a deck like this. Like, our deck's incredibly powerful, but you just get hosed by hate cards. They had a lot of hate cards there, and we didn't have our key combo card in the top 41 cards of our deck. Just how it rolls sometimes. What are the odds we have 4 of in the top 41 cards of our deck? Uh, 99.2% to see a 4 of. We are the 1%, chat. We are the 0.8% of the time. This hand would be better if it had a black source on 1, but it's still definitely very good, and we're going to keep it. Third land is great. Means we get to curve Binding into Calls the Dead here. Great. Here's the Reclamation matchup. Hey, good game, Zendem. Thanks for the half a year. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Good luck at the rest of your laddering today. I'm going to be honest. I don't really pay attention to usernames while I'm streaming. Were you the mono black player? Hey, Signor, thanks for the entire year of support. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, let's see if we can kill them on our turn 5. Let's see if we get a turn 5. This is definitely a matchup that can be kept pretty challenging because they have things like Fog and they have bounce spells and stuff like that. This is the first matchup in this set where you're going to see us leverage our sideboard. In fact, I think all 15 cards are going to come in here. Yay! Our opponent died! That being said, even with this matchup being challenging, you do still just sometimes kill your hard matchups, which is why this deck is good. Similar to Winota in that way, where sometimes you're just like, oh, look, here, Storm Herald kill you. Bantrek often doesn't play Fog. It's good to know. It definitely gives us a better matchup. So, when you board off the combo plan, you cut the Prodigious Growths, and you cut the Ancestral Masks. I think we cut the Death Dwellers, too, probably. I don't mind leaving Setessan Training in because they cantrip, and they Storm Herald bringing them back lets him cantrip as well. So for the ephemeral aggro, sounds good, Landon. Thanks for the support. I'm going to bring in Remorse, Questing Beast, Kroxa, Trophy, Maelstrom Pulse. I'm going to trim these Cathartic Reunions down here too, I think. That is about what our post-board plan looks like. I don't know. People keep acting like there's stock lists, but like there haven't been a bunch of historic tournaments, so I would be weary of suggesting things are too stock in this format at the moment. Yeah, we're a combo deck game one that just like literally boards into like Judge mid range. Good, clean transformational sideboard. Settle a fog except against Scroll. Now settles a sweeper. Opponent has a Thassa's Intervention in their hand that we know about, but the client's bug. Did they really patch on a Saturday afternoon and not fix that bug? I wish I could say I was surprised, but at this point it's kind of just expected, right? If they want to counterspell this, I'm fine with that. That means they're not drawing card with Thassa's Intervention. We got enough cards in the bin to escape Kroxa now, so let's do that. Patch fix some of the black screens. Yes, instead of getting a black screen, we now get a loading screen with a spinning waiting on server. Which is progress. It's definitely progress. I think the Storm Herald deck's very good. If you haven't seen this deck before, and you've been looking for historic decks, that means you haven't been through the stuff on my website. I would recommend taking some time. There's like 24 decks up there or so. A lot of great things to look at. Will not take you that long to click through all the different things that I have to offer. In addition to there being deck lists up there, there's also videos of me playing each of the decks that are listed on the website. It's a great source for decks to find. Yeah, just want to stick a Cathartic Reunion there and just try and hit the land drops. Little waiting on server there. Speaking of, there's a little waiting on server. COVID-19 breaks its 10 millionth case worldwide, with half the world's case growth coming from the US, Brazil, and India. No European or Asian countries are in the top 10. We're number one. We're number one. America. USA. USA. Donald Trump promised to make us great, chat, and he certainly made us #1 in something. I don't know if it's something we wanted to be #1 in, but you know. Why did that ban me? Well, you're currently typing in chat, which would imply that you're not currently banned. UK, Italy, and Spain appear to be in the top 10. I'm going to time you out for telling me I'm wrong without citing a source. Next time, do better. I am wrong often, just ask my wife. But if you're going to come in here and tell me I'm wrong, you better cite a source. Of course Trump thinks people shouting white power are great people. Trump's a fascist and a bigot. We don't have a Storm Herald in sight. Probably just going to get clunked out of this game. Had to exile all of my possible cards that could be used to punk them out. Like trying to tread water with these zombies. Thanks for the 17 months, Carlos. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Alright, onwards, upwards, backward, forward. And that's the real cost of playing this deck. You know, while you have some very powerful linear draws, you also have draws like that where, like, you have Prodigious Growth stuck in your hand, and you just don't find your Storm Herald, you don't have food for this, etc. I think this is actually a matchup where, especially on the play we just clicked submit, I think our average draw isn't nearly as clunky as the one we just had, and we're looking to just run down our opponent. So here's the thing, though, Kirkham. The thing that you need to understand is a lot of people in the US have been talking about how the death rate of COVID is down. There's a 2-week lag time on all of this, which means the incredible spike in number of cases that we're currently having in the United States is likely going to be followed a week to 2 weeks from now in a spike in deaths. Because that's how this disease works. There's up to a 2-week incubation period. So every time you make a good choice, there's a 2-week delay in you seeing results from you making a good choice. And every time you make a bad decision, there's a 2-week lag time in you seeing the repercussions of making a bad decision. The governors that are reacting to these things where things are getting bad, things are going to get much worse even with their reactions because they needed to be out in front of it, not responding after the fact. Alright, so this hand's pretty okay. We obviously need to draw a third land, but if these find some goodies, Storm Herald can kill them pretty quickly. As someone who's had the pleasure of attempting to teach introductory statistics to people who are working adults, the average statistical understanding of people in the United States is very, very bad. I don't think we can beat that card. Let's go to the next one. I've not, Walker M. Yeah, the Florida Town Hall making the rounds really is something. OMFG Santa, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oaklandia. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. Well, the good news is, if we break out a land next turn, we'll be able to training to try and draw another land. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, I think I'm going to hold on. Am I going to hold on to the training? Now, let's just assume we're going to draw land here. Perfect. Viewer counts have been way down, so I decided to tentatively turn sub-only mode off. If it annoys me, I turn it back on. We're going to leave it like that for the time being. A big part of why I had moved to sub-only mode is because chat was moving fast enough that it was hard to manage. We've been sub 1,000 people quite often lately, so. Is there merit to Glowspore Shaman over Mire Triton? No, I don't think so. So, Glowspore helps you hit your land drops, which is nice, but Mire Triton being a real card that can trade with things and gain you life is good. Also, Mire Triton having Death Touch to load enchantments up on is frequently very good. The flash deck was super reasonable this morning. Feel like we ended on a pretty okay spot. This is a sweet use of this card too. We get to bring both of these back. Death Touch here, Menace here. Get to mill 5, dig deeper towards our thing. Sounds good, Flavor. Hey, Scrafted, thanks for the 24 months. Welcome back. And again, this is just what happens when you're kind of playing an A-B combo deck like we are on occasion. Like, we're just 30 cards into our deck. Can we scribe bottom at all? We're 31 cards into our deck without a Storm Herald. Just happens on occasion. Something you gotta be okay with if you're gonna play this. Really want them to attack with Yorvo or the 1/1s here. So I can trade Citrus Supplier off in mill 3. And smart on their part not to. Alright, there's the Storm Herald. You love to see it. There's the coveted 6th land. So we can hard cast Prodigious Growth here on Stitcher Supplier. This is my 8/8. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Wow, there actually are not... There are not that many enchantments in here, are there? Actually, you know what I probably should have done? I probably should have left this on top of Storm Herald, so I could play Stitcher Supplier, mill this, and try and hit other enchantments with the Death Dweller next turn. Okay. Alright, if they don't kill me here. Alright, and you're dead. I don't have any removal mana up, right? So let's just load up the Death Touch creature here. Yes, they made mill a keyword. Oh, Storm Herald is also a Death Touch creature. That's fine. They're both Death Touch trample. Whatevs. They're very menacing. Should have put a trample enchantment on here too. That's fine. They're dead no matter how they slice this. Nah, links are enabled here. Thank you for the link. I appreciate it. John Tompkins dashboard. Sure. You are correct. Thank you for the correction. I wonder what metric this tweet is going on. Links are always welcome in my chat. Our chat rules are very simple. Act like an adult, you'll be treated like an adult. Act like a child, you get a 10-minute break like a child. Alright, so post-board, you almost always board in Trophy and Maelstrom Pulse because these cards interact with most graveyard hate that exists in this format. So these are just like hedges to let you kill any graveyard hate they might have. And these cards are just flexible, so in the event they don't have or don't draw their graveyard hate, you can still interact with their board to stall the game till you can combo them. Call of the Death Dweller seems like a fine trim. What else do I want to get rid of? It might just be all 4 of those, honestly. Maybe just like 2 into Cathartic Reunion. Just trim around the edges a little. It's fine. Little mana heavy, but we got double, triple mills now. Love it. If either of these flip over a Storm Herald, like so, Binding of the Titans can get it back on the line, which is nice. Yeah, Scavenging Ooze is a very real concern. Definitely a card we need to get rid of. Steel Leaf Champion's very good against us because we can't block it. And look, speaking of, there's a Scavenging Ooze. I'm gonna attack here. If they want to block, we get to mill 3. The fact that they didn't block there implies to me they don't currently have graveyard hate, because if they had graveyard hate, they wouldn't mind filling up my bin and protecting their life total. Put this on here so we're capable of blocking Steel Leaf Champion this turn. This also gets the Ancestral Mask down into the bin for Storm Herald later. That's a biggin. That's a biggin. Okay, so I already have a Storm Herald in my hand. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab Stitcher Supplier here. You should go watch the wrap-up from the other video. I talked about that there, Nocti. Watch the blue-red wrap-up. So now, I have to decide... I think I need to play this as a chump blocker, right? We played this out. I can chump block Yorvo. I can trophy Galta. We are dead to a removal spell here, but I don't have any way to not be dead to a removal spell, so can't play around it.
to the sounds of the wild.
That's also lethal, right? So I block, and I take 6, 11, 13. So I'm just not going to show him trophy here. Okay, Vivian grants trample. Well, you're a little bit late, Dwight. I've been playing this one for a bit. I'm a little over an hour in. It's been a pretty good set. Lost to some graveyard cards. They had a lot of close races. Or lost some graveyard hate. Opened a peel a land here. Perfect. Probably gonna do one more after this before we wrap up. They just hold up mana for Scavenging Goose here. We're gonna have a bad time. Which is what I assume they're going to do. They might also just, like, eat my Storm Herald proactively. Afternoon, Mari. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Excuse me? Alright. I mean, I guess I can only bring back 2 things, but at this point I'm definitely just bringing them back now, right? Yeah, released on Thursday, Bled. Would die when they missed land 3. I mean, I don't think this game is over by any means. If my opponent hits their land this turn, they've got a real shot to continue playing a game of Magic. Scavenging Ooze is very good here. We need to find a removal spell for it ASAP, and I bottomed a Pulse and I milled another. So, like... Assassin's Trophy is not the removal we're looking for. Disagree. Literally looking for anything. In fact, it was the only piece of removal in our deck, so it was actually exactly what we were looking for, because like I said, there's a Maelstrom Pulse in my bin and in the bottom. So, big disagree that that wasn't what we were looking for. It was, in fact, exactly the card we were looking for. It's less ideal than a Pulse would have been, but You know, it's also, like, better than a Scavenging Ooze continuing to beat us down. Thanks for being here, Ivy. If I attack with everything here, they eat this, they take 4 down to 2. It just has so many cards in hand at this point. And that's why we like playing a combo deck, chat. Because sometimes you just go, this game's really close. Oops, Storm Herald kill you. Was that a good draw? If so, why? Please explain. We played blue-green Ugin Ramp. I don't really know, like, to be pedantic, I don't know that, like, I qualify Ugin as a sweet card. Ugin's one of those things where, like, the turn 4 Ugin sweet, like, the first 3 times you do it, but, like, the 10th time it happens to you and then you realize it's gonna continue happening to you, you're just like, oh no. Ugin's more sweet in a format where a Boreal Grazer and Uro, like, aren't omnipresent. Is Dualcaster Mage in one of the upcoming sets? Yeah, Reunion was a great addition to this archetype, big agree. Yeah, M21 released on Thursday. It's in Jumpstart? Okay. That's the word I was struggling to say, Jumpstart. I've played a ton against Tron. I don't need to see turn 4 Ugin any more than I already have. Yep. I find it a little bit hard to be too salty about Burning Emissary when we're playing the deck we're playing, because our deck's arguably more explosive than BTE. Yeah, I've seen a couple of people tweet about the... Oh, that's actually pretty good, huh? They get to power up Pelt Collector here. Because it saw it die as a 3/3. So we do this to stall the board a little bit. We have, what, 6 shots at Storm Herald here. We get 3 more draws, and then we get a draw step next turn. Gross. That's kind of a redraw at least. Although I guess I'm probably trading here, or this is dying, so I guess not. Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12. So because I'm dead next turn guaranteed, I think I actually don't block here. So this way I can cast Setessan Training to give myself an extra draw at Storm Herald. We've been really unfortunate so far today. This is like the third or fourth game in an hour. We're like halfway into our deck without our thing. It's rough. We tried running 5 copies. That is strong advice. Turn one Stitcher Supplier. I guess this hand doesn't have a way to get Storm Herald out of the bin though. It's a little awkward. That's a great... Was that the best draw on our deck? I think that might have been the best draw on our deck. Like, get to put these in the bin and then churn through here a little bit. Not gonna attack with this. I want to leave it back to block in the event they have a haste creature. I think even if there is a good green-white counters deck, Ozolith still isn't playable. There's just too many Tefris and Brazen Borrowers in these formats for that card to be good. I don't think Unburial Rite solves problems that we have, really. I think between I think it makes the mana markedly worse, and between Call of the Death Dweller and Binding of the Titans, you have plenty of time picking it back up from your bin when you find it. The games we're losing is because we're just not finding it. Alright, so the turn 4 kill here. Is this the next deck we're going to get banned in this format, chat? Because they banned Winota because it kills people on turn 4, right? So, this is pretty close. Honestly, you probably want to be weary about crafting this. This is exactly the type of deck Wizards of the Coast likes to ban. Well, you see, they don't ban Nexus or Reclamation because when Nexus kills you, it technically takes like 100 extra turns, so you're not technically dying until turn like 112. So Nexus doesn't kill you on turn 4, it kills you on turn 104, so it's obviously fine. $109 turn format, you get 4 turns, I get 105 turns. Yeah, exactly, you get it. I'm pretty confident that turn 1 Stitcher Supplier, turn 2 Binding is a keep regardless of what the other 5 cards are every time. So next turn, we'll get to Call of the Death Dwellers, bring back Stitcher Supplier and Mire Triton as blockers, and they'll both have Death Touch, which is great. I'm going to exile my extra Stitcher Supplier here to gain an extra life. Every point of life matters. Might be another game where there's no Storm Herald in the top half of our deck. If they attack, we get to mill 3 more over. They don't have a second red, so they can't Embercleave us currently. You know, no cleave mana is great for us, big agree. Watch this, draw Storm Herald. They elected not to discard the card from their hand. Alright, if this finds a Storm Herald, I believe we have lethal, right? Needed those a little bit sooner. At least Call the Death Dwellers a live draw now, but we're through a bunch of those already. I just have to hit, right? That's the way the cookie crumbles. I don't think it's fair to compare this to Arclight Phoenix because this, like, that last game's a great example too, because while obviously it's frustrating when you don't find your key card in your top half or whatever, like, in this deck compared to Phoenix, as soon as you find the one copy of your key card, they literally die. So, like, unlike Phoenix, where, like, when you finally find a Phoenix, you attack for 2, like, in this deck, when we finally find our thing, they lose. Like, they would have been dead from the position they were in had we finally drawn the thing. So close game. If we would have, if the 2 Storm Heralds that we had would have literally been, if either of them would have been 1 card sooner or 1 card later, we would have literally won the game. So, like, no, I don't, so, like, don't make changes to your deck to account for games in which you get incredibly unlucky. You need to take a step back from sets like what we just played and realize, like, the number of games that we experienced there where Storm Herald wasn't in the top half of our deck, or it was exactly in the 2 cards we needed it not to be in the top 2/3 of our deck. Like, those are the exception and not the rule. Like, that last game, if Storm Herald had been 1 card sooner, we'd have picked it up with Binding of the Titans. If it had been 1 card later, we'd have drawn it with the Setessan Training. Like, yeah, Magic's a game where, like, when you're winning 60% of your matches, it's considered an incredible success. I don't think I'd make any changes to this. I think I'm pretty happy. With what we have here. The only swap we made that I'll update this on the website is I turned the 2 red cap melees from when Winota was a deck into Maelstrom Pulse, so that way you can kill Graveyard Hate some more often. No, chat, again, like, I love how I take the time to explain how you shouldn't adjust your deck for when you get incredibly unlucky, and then, like, people continue to suggest recommendations on how we can adjust the deck for when we get incredibly unlucky. Like, can you really call yourself a Magic player if you are? Yeah, like, adding random tutors and crap to this deck after that third game we just played is like cutting a land from your deck every time you flood and adding one every time you screw. It's just like largely nonsensical. It's based on feelings and not reality, and it's gonna lose you more games in the long run than it's gonna win you. I really like this board plan, Dwight. I think this board plan's quite good in the Nexus matchup, which is one of your harder matchups in the format, I think. You board in all 15 against Nexus, and it works out pretty well. All right, at any rate, that's going to wrap up on Magic for today. If you missed any of this set or the Flash deck that we played before this, they'll be up on my YouTube channel this evening. We're going to go ahead and roll on into some Legends of Runeterra for the remainder of the stream. If you haven't seen that before, that's Riot's new cardio that's available on PC and mobile that I've been enjoying a lot of.